Hi guys, it's 97 the Tech Geek here. Today I'm just going to do a very quick video. I know it's been covered by many people, but I just thought I would show off some different methods of being able to do this, but is to install Windows 11, which is currently, as of the time of recording this video, the latest and greatest version of Windows available. They introduced a few different requirements, much to people not being particularly happy about those requirements. Some of them are based on having a TPM chip installed, secure boot, or having a CPU that is technically not in the correct generation. So for Intel, generally speaking, 8th gen or newer. Ryzen you can get away with, or AMD for the Ryzen side, you can get away generally with an ink and the 2000 and above series. So there's a couple of ways to do it. First step, I would imagine, go ahead and actually install the Windows 11 or download, sorry, the Windows 11 ISO. So rather than going onto some janky websites that claim to show you this bypass or do the bypass for you, and you're not really knowing what you're installing, what I'd recommend doing is just popping onto the Microsoft website where you can download the ISO completely free of charge, and you don't actually need the product key either to go ahead and download. So go ahead onto the Microsoft website. I'll link this in the description below. Click the Windows 11 Multi-ISO Edition ISO, select the language, which in my case is English International, and confirm. So it'll give us a link. So we'll go ahead and click on the 64-bit version. This is one thing to note with Windows 11. While these checks can bypass and fix the ability not to be able to install it with, for example, an older generation CPU, not having a TPM or your laptop, or even if you're doing a boot camp device, not being able to support secure boot, you will need a 64-bit processor. You can't have, unfortunately, a 32-bit processor to get around these limitations, because that is all the ISO is in. So yeah, that is that. So what we'll do is we'll leave this one to download, and once it's downloaded, we shall come back and we'll go from there. Right, welcome back. We've got the ISO downloaded. So there's a couple methods we can do. One of them, if you're going to need to do it on another device, rather than the device you're actually installing it on, is you can go ahead and use an application called Rufus. We're just going to download the portable version here. So we're going to open that one up, give it all the admin permissions, allow it to go online and check this latest version. I've got USB stick already inserted into this laptop or MacBook. It's actually a boot camp device. So it's already pre-selected that, but if you've got multiple USB sticks in, select the correct one. Go ahead and select the ISO. So it'll be in your downloads more than likely. It will think about it. It will pop up. You've got a couple of options whether you want a Windows to go or standard. In this case, we just want a standard. We don't want to be running Windows off the USB stick. You can rename it if you really wish to, but just leave everything as default and click on Start. When you click Start, you'll get this little pop-up. So it will essentially edit the files to allow you to install Windows 11 on a device that has the lack of requirements. So no, I think it's 8 GB RAM is the minimum it ideally wants, but this will remove that, secure boot and TPM. It can also go ahead and get rid of the annoying step where it forces you, unless you're installing Windows 11 Pro, to use a Microsoft account, and you can go ahead and create a local account and set a few preferences, and essentially we'll do these using like an unintended XML file. So yeah, if you do that, click OK, it will then start to wipe anything on that USB stick, and then from there you can either plug that into another device and boot it off the USB, or if you're going to do it on the same computer, you can do it on the same computer and do it as an in-place upgrade, which will prevent you from having to reinstall all your applications. So I'm going to cancel that because we're not going to do it on this demonstration, but like I say, it's fairly straightforward and easy to do. The method that quite a lot of people haven't seen very much online, is essentially by tricking the setup file into thinking it's a Windows Server version, which bypasses a few of its checks. Really easy way to do that. So what we're going to do is go to our downloads, and we're going to click on the ISO, confirm that we're happy with the security warning. What I will do before I go any further, we do computer information, and you can see it's the MacBook Pro on Boot Camp. Essentially, doesn't support secure boot, older than 8th generation Intel processor, and TPM isn't accessible as well. So realistically, this is a write-off according to Microsoft. So what we're going to do is go and mount it. It will generally be D, but in this case, because I've got the USB stick in, it's gone to the next available drive mapping, which is E. We're going to want to go and open up command. Don't know what I'm doing now. Command prompt. What we will need to do is run this as admin. So click on admin. Yes. I'm going to change it to this E drive. So because we're not changing the directory as such, we're changing the drive, just need to simply put in E, yep, like so. And then from there, if we go into the sources file, we've got a lovely application here called setupprep. So essentially we're going to add a flag onto this, which is going to allow us to trick it and do what we want. So we'll change directory because we're now in E to the sources. And what we're going to pop in is setupprep.exe, which is that application there, space / product server. Enter. I'll think about it for a few moments. I'll pair and do the normal Windows thing. Here you can go ahead if you really want to and let it download updates, but for ease of this video, I'm just going to click not now, and I don't want to help make the installation any better. Click on next. It'll run some checks. Now let's get a few things ready. Got the license agreement, so we'll pretend that we've read that. And now you'll get an option of what you want to do. Do you want to keep your files, applications, and settings as is? Do you want to essentially have a clean Windows installation but keep your user profile in place, or do you want it to wipe? So in this case, just because I've got the boot camp drives and stuff on, and they should be compatible with Windows 11, I'm just going to tell it I want to keep everything. So once again, I'll run some compatibility checks. If you've got applications on here that it either doesn't reckon it can transfer across the licensing, or it thinks that might be an issue, or it just doesn't believe the application is compatible or will cause issues, quite often antivirus, if you've got that installed, heavily recommend just using Windows Defender and not paying for using any free antivirus besides that, but obviously it's completely at your discretion. Generally it will ask you, or it will remove those before it allows you to carry on. But I believe in this case it's pretty much a fresh installation besides the bootcamp drivers, so I shouldn't need to uninstall or have any compatibility concerns, but it will tell us in a moment. Taking a little while. We'll just close all this as well because we now no longer need any of this. Checking that we got enough space. And we do. So it can install Windows 11 Pro, which I think is essentially what's installed on this right now, and it can keep any files, settings, and applications without any requirements. So we'll just click on install. And you'll get your normal window. Besides it not saying Windows 11 right now, this is pretty much a bog standard Windows installation. It was an in-place upgrade. So like it says, it will reboot multiple times. Don't worry about that. So what I'll do now is I will briefly pause this video, let it go through this wizard. Unfortunately, I don't have a way of capturing the actual MacBook's output to record the full process and time lapse it up. So you'll just have to believe me when I say that I've done nothing to tweak this, and it will eventually reboot into the Windows 11 desktop. So yeah, see you shortly. There we go. So just like that, we've done an in-place upgrade. So I'm just waiting for it to log in, just so you can see that it is the same machine. Just in case you think it's some YouTube wizardry, but yeah, it's as simple as that really. Um, it's a great way to breathe some life into an older machine that technically isn't supported, but by no means is terrible. I mean, there are a lot worse CPUs that are actually on the list of supported ones that probably provide a worse experience than something that's unsupported. And obviously with the upcoming October deadline of 2025, I believe, which will stop security updates, it's probably better to try and get your laptop or your computer or even an old MacBook if you want to boot camp it into a modern OS. So yeah, help prevent e-waste rather than spending loads of money on a new machine just because Microsoft dictates that you need that. But yeah, let's wait for this to load. It's taking a little while, but it will do just because obviously in the background it will be configuring setting changes between Windows 10 to 11, doing the normal wizard. So yeah, don't expect it to fly through, but I mean the install itself taken less than an hour, and that's including downloading the ISO. Also, it's heavily internet dependent, but there we go. So we're in. So let's put a nice little folder there for apps that have come across from Windows 10. But we're now running Windows 11. So if we pop back here, hasn't picked up the previous searches, but if we go to computer management, you'll see it's changed now. But if we go to performance, see MacBook Pro, if we go under processors, 6820, system information, there we go. So once again, secure boot not supported, TPM isn't applicable, and processor. So yeah, the only thing that actually met the requirement technically was the amount of RAM installed on this MacBook. But as we will see if we go to settings, got no flag at the bottom there. Occasionally an update will bring that across, and it's just a registry key edit. If you want to remove the watermark that tells you you're technically installing it on a device that it shouldn't be done on. But yeah, so got this. If we click on download and install, it was trying to install a Windows 10 update. So if we click on retry, it will now check for updates, and it should start pulling through any updates from Windows 11. Because even if you download Windows 11 from Microsoft's website, they don't keep updating and patching it. They'll only do major versions, so depending on how old the version is, will depend on how many updates you do or don't have. But yeah, it's downloading quite happily. So thanks for watching this video, and tune in for more videos like this. Goodbye.